this new video. We shall be talking about loops in Python. So first we start by seeing what a loop is. A loop is a sequence of continuously repeated instructions and that are executed until a certain condition is met. And in Python we have mainly two kinds of loops, namely the for loop and the while loop. So today's focus is going to be on for loops. So a for loop is used for iterating over a sequence that could be either be a list, a tuple, a dictionary, or a set of strings. And in Python, for loops are more like an iterator method, just like any other loops found in other programming languages. So we are going to see an example on how we can execute a set of items in a list using a for loop. So first, let's start by creating a file, and our file name we can say something like cars.py. You could name you could just give it any other name. So we are going to initialize a variable, the name cars, and this variable is going to be equal to an array list items. So cars, we are going to have cities, to have Toyota. Another item in our list of items, we're going to have something like Honda. So after that, we are going to use our for loop to kind of read through this array of items and output them in our console. So we are going to say for x in our cars variable, we would like to print x. So actually what happens is that so for this x, which is the items within our list, it's going to like use the for loop to iterate through these items in the array, and it's going to print all the items on our console. So let's save and run the file. So yes, as you can see, it outputs all the items within the list of items in our array. We have Mercedes, we have Toyota, and Honda. So yes, that is how we do it. So another thing we could do is looping through a string letter by letter. So first, let's start by commenting this out. So to do that, we are going to use the for loop for x in a string. Let's say the word banana. Going to print x. So this is going to loop through the string letter by letter. Let's save and run the file. So yes, as you can see, it has looped through the string letter by letter. So that's banana there, B-A-N-A-N-A. Let's see how we can use the break statement in for loops. So actually, with the break statement, we can stop the loop before it has looped through all the items. So we actually specified where the loop should break, and the loop doesn't continue from that point. So let's see an example. So for instance, here we see let's say fruits is equal to orange, banana, apple, and let's say uh, something like watermelon. So that's our list, and then let's use the for loop. So for x in fruits, we would like to print x. After that, we're going to introduce our if statement that is going to set the condition. So we are going to print x if x is equal to, so we are going to specify our breaking point. So let's specify our breaking point at apple. So, and then we are going to break. So yeah, that's it. So let's save the file. So actually what's going to happen here is that we have our list of items in the array. So for x in fruits, we're going to print x, but x here has a condition. We set x to be apple within the list of items. So using the break statement, that's to mean that we're going to print all the items up to this specified breakpoint, which is the apple. So let's run the file. So yes, you can see here it has printed out orange, banana, and apple. So it doesn't print out the watermelon. So that's the breaking statement and how it's used with for loops. So within for loops, we can also use the continue statement. So with the continue statement, we can stop the current iteration of the loop and continue with the next. So we're going to see that using a similar example. I'm going to say fruits equal to our list here, say apple, orange, avocado, and banana. So we are then going to introduce the for loop. So for x in fruits, we are going to set the condition if x is equal to, so now we're going to specify the item where we should stop the iteration. So let's specify that continue statement at the avocado list. So and then we're going to introduce our continue statement, and finally print. We're going to print x. So what's going to happen here is that Since we have this list of items in our array, so for x in fruits, if x is equal to avocado, we're going to continue this using the continue statement, and we're going to print x. So this is to mean that it's going to skip this particular list and move on to the next list. So let's save and run the file. So yeah, as you can see here, so it has iterated through apple, orange, and it has skipped avocado and gone to banana. So yeah, so we are going to see how we can also use range functions within for loops. So a range function allows us to loop through a set of code a specified number of times. The range function returns a sequence of numbers starting from 0 by default and increments by 1 if no increment parameter is set, and it ends at a specified number. So let's see an example of how range functions are used within for loops. So let's see for x in the range say 7, we like to print x. Actually, there's something I forgot here. Hold on. So for x in range 7, print x. So let's save. So actually what should happen here is that it's going to start from 0 by default, and it's going to iterate through all that set of numbers up to 7, but it's not going to print out 7. So it should end at 6. So let's run this file. So yes, you can see on the terminal, it has iterated through 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up to 6. Now let's see how we can still use the range function with some specified parameters, where we are going to specify where it should start and also an increment parameter. So that's going to be simple. Let's comment this out. So for x range, so the start parameter here, let's say 2. It should end at let's say 20, and the increment parameter, let's set it at say 3. So and then we print x. So here what's going to happen within this range, we've specified that it should start at 2 and end before 20, with the third parameter being the increment parameter. So let's save and run this file. So here you can see here, so it starts at 2, it increments by 3 to 5, then 8, then 11, 14, 17, but now doesn't increment this final number here because it's going to add up to 20, but our specified endpoint is 20, so it's not going to output that. So in this exercise, the goal is to initialize an array of values, look through the array and sum the integer values. So we're going to create a variable container. My numbers is equal to an array of random values, and we are going to initialize a sum variable which is initialized to 0, and then we're going to use a for loop, say for x y in enumerate. So we're going to use the enumerate function, which is a function in Python that is used to convert data collection objects into enumerate objects. So within this function, we're going to call the name of our variable, my numbers. So and then we're going to use the sum. We're going to use the plus equal sign operator to add values on our right, the values on our left, which is the first initialized value, and assign the result to the variable or property on the left. So plus equal sign y, and finally print uh, print the sum. So actually here what's going to happen is for the first value within our array, it's going to be added to 0, and then the value or the result is going to be assigned to this variable here that is going to be outputted. So every time there'll be an increment with the next value. So let's save, and let's run this file. Oh, before we run the file, there's an error here, so let's put a colon there. Let's save, let's run. So as you can see on the console, it outputs the sum of integer values in the array, 35. So thank you. If this is of help to you, consider subscribing and liking the video, share to others so that they may see the same. Thank you.